Hi, it's AG and IJ,
IJ.
and we're recording on Monday, so CB couldn't be here.
Yeah, we almost recorded yesterday, but
Yeah,
that would have meant having like a half an hour show, and we couldn't do that for this run. Like,
especially not for these episodes. That straight off the bat, like CB had said that since we're going of a way of each arc is gonna have one platinum episode, and
if we can find a platinum, which
yeah,
this is a contender.
and if there is no platinum episode, it means that something's wrong in that arc. Honestly, like,
or it's just a really high goal. Like there was just too much shenanigans or too much filler in the rest of the arc, and even though the episode and the main stuff was good, there was just too much filler.
yeah.
It's not really our fault.
Also, this is gonna be the first episode in which Flash or I Flash, he's gonna try doing some stuff, and so
He's gonna work his magic.
yeah, we don't have the best camera, but you know, gonna try
We're
our
gonna
hardest.
get a good camera.
Maybe
One of these days.
One of these days.
One of these days, kids.
Yeah. So, just going over what had happened. Luffy accidentally destroyed part of the restaurant.
Thought he took out an old man's leg in the process, and almost had like a heart attack. I still thought that was pretty funny.
And Sanji had an introduction showing that he had a poster, meaning that definitely he's going to be part of the crew. If, not the opening was going to show it off.
Or the closing.
But this episode really did show, like, there's almost a reason why they showed it. Like, they probably did it on accident. But there's a distinct reason why we're shown, hey, he's going to be part of the team. And that's because before we even go in, Luffy is stubborn. And we've seen this in several other episodes in which if he says he's going to do something, there is no way.
He keeps his promises, even when no one else wants him to keep his promise.
Yeah, so we have a situation in which Luffy came to this restaurant because he wants to find a chef. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the coolest looking guy and the guy that in the intro is going to be the chef.
Yeah.
Like, we know this straight off the bat. But
Luffy tries to surprise adopt Sanji, and Sanji is having none of it because he's been surprise adopted before.
Yeah. So let's actually go let's go into the episode proper.
Oh, this was a good episode.
Like, we meet Patty and we meet
Carne.
Carne, right?
Patty and Carne, which are both things to do with meat.
Who are the two other chefs?
Yeah, they're like the two main head chefs right under Zeph.
Yeah. Patty looks like a deformed Popeye, in which the top of his head is big instead of the. It's almost like the top of his head is big instead of his chin, where Popeye has a massive chin and a small top of his head.
Yeah.
And he's got like the big like anchor arm things, or like.
I like how the first time we see Patty, he's like, a customer is always right. We're gonna have a good day. Like, he's just about to burst into a musical number, and he rocks out, and there's like Sanji with full body there.
Everything he says is an insult, but said apparently in Japanese, said in a very passive and happy manner. So it's like, what are you doing?
It's like he said, "Oh yeah,"
almost like he can't help himself but talk like that. And he comes out, sees Sanji basically just like attacking Full Body, who gets away.
Well, he just sits on the floor.
He kind of gets away from the situation, and he starts like leaving the restaurant.
It's like the line from Rick and Morty. It's like, I just started crawling, and it seemed to work. So is he then the Jerry of
no,
One Piece?
Because he doesn't show up past it doesn't show up after they reach Logtown.
Yeah, he's one of those characters who's just there and never comes back.
Yeah. He's like, we never even see anything
Like we
about him
see
after
Morgan a couple more
his
times.
one episode that he appears afterwards. Like, we don't see anything of him.
Yeah, and so Zeph comes out, and he basically
No, he doesn't come out. He falls into the situation because apparently the ceiling is also wrecked.
But that was that Luffy, or was it Zeph blaming Luffy for him trying to stamp a hole into the ground?
Oh no. So, turns out that Full Body, the entire time that he was courting this girl, had a prisoner from the Krieg pirates, in which one of their I don't know what position he was. Like, I think he's just a cabin boy.
I think he was just a run-of-the-mill soldier. I don't think he was a cabin boy. I don't think he was anyone important. He was just a normal soldier.
But he shows up with a gun, and he asks, "Hey, I want food."
And he tries to steal it. Doesn't work because he stepped onto the Baratier, and the Baratier is infamous for being right up against the Grand Line and the Calm Belt.
So you have so you have them basically just kick him out the back, and he's starving because even after all this time, like, he's really starving. And then Sanji makes food out of what is clearly just scraps, like, found out in the restaurant, just gives it to him, which
I remember that you were talking one of the the Usopp episodes, I forget which one it is, was your gold standard. This was my gold standard.
Oh, this moment?
Well, this episode in its entirety.
Which is weird because
this one was a gold.
I kind of disliked this episode. Not to the point where it became a bronze. It's still silver, but this episode in particular has really odd pacing. This and the next episode.
It has Sanji.
It has really great moments of Sanji, but everything seems really oddly dragged out. And then we get, like, after this scene, we're gonna go into, like, Luffy is just meandering about doing his errand boy job, and that's
the funny
5 minutes of him just screwing everything up
because he wants to get fired. But it's that this was a really good episode because in these 2 episodes in which we have seen Sanji, it set Sanji up better than it set up Usopp in 5 episodes.
Well, right from the beginning, Usopp's a liar. He likes to tell stories. And we don't even see what his real skill is in battle until the following mini arc that they go into. Not this one, the next one.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get into that. So we're going to save everything that happens with Nami until the very end.
Oh, yeah. We'll be talking about everything that her shenanigans she's been up to.
Because it's important for after all these discussions, because we want to just focus it on Sanji and the Barate.
Because there's a lot of stuff that happens, even if we take out Nami and talk about her next week. But we're not going to do that.
No, we're talking about Nami, like, at the end of...
Yeah. Okay. But so it's that Sanji has a habit of feeding people who get kicked out of the Baratier if they're starving. Like, it's very clear in this episode even that he makes a habit of doing this. And Zeph knows he does it. He walks out and Zeph gives him this look. It's not a look of disapproval, but it's a look of I'm going to turn my back. And when I turn back again to look at you, the situation better be taken care of. Like, and it tells more about Sanji on a subtext level than I think any word could do.
You just grab, like, hot water juice?
It's not tea.
Sorry, hot leaf juice. That's what it was.
But there's no leaf. There's just a lemon rind.
Ocean juice.
It's the quenchiest. It'll quench you.
Yeah, she's drinking. Since this is like the first time we've ever actually brought it up, you're drinking like just lemon water,
It's hot
and
lemon water.
I'm drinking salted caramel
I like
hot
tea.
chocolate because I just really like salted caramel.
We're almost out of the tea I have, and it's like, I have to get up at like 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Can you quickly grabbing like a tissue over there?
Yeah.
So we see that Zeph is very commanding in this episode. Everything he talks about
Mm-hmm.
and the way he like presents himself,
It feels
is,
like this place
you
is
can
run like a
tell
mafia restaurant.
even before Jin, the name of the Greek pirate guy who shows up.
It's
even
very
before-
evident that Zeph is king of the castle, and he just lets
You can
it
tell
run
that he
itself.
was a pirate captain way before this, and he knows how to run a very tight ship. And Jin goes like, "Hey Luffy, you said that you're going to the Grand Line to find the One Piece."
And
yeah,
Gin's
don't.
Gin's face is like he is having like almost like non-level flashbacks of like how awful his time in the Grand Line was. Like you could see it, like he's like internally convulsing at the mere mention of the Grand Line.
Yeah.
And like how horrid it was for him. Because they probably got into the Grand Line, had what happened to them, and had to turn right back around in the most horrid way possible on the Grand Line.
Yeah,
which we're going to get to when we get to the actual, them trying to get into the Grand Line.
Yeah, and so we see, we see Jin get up on his ship and just leave
And
because
Sanji dumps the glass and the plate and the fork.
Yeah, it's
over
very nice. It's like
water.
it's
And
very
he's like, I didn't do anything, and none of you guys can prove it because the plate's gone. How did I feed you without a plate? And Gin like just starts crying and bawling. And I'm like, that's my boy,
Gin goes back
Sanji.
to Krieg going, well, did you want to go to this restaurant because you're hungry too? And we're left on the cliffhanger for episode 22, which immediately starts off.
Oh, and
with
Sanji
Zeph basically
meets Nami. We forgot this.
No, that happens in the next episode.
No, it happened in this episode.
No,
No, it happened in this episode.
Are you sure?
Because
oh yeah,
it
does.
was during Luffy trying to get fired from the Baratier.
And
like, Sanji,
we also noticed
saw
that,
Nami and he's like.
We also noticed that Nami gets a new shirt.
She almost always does it. She
No,
creates
up
it out
until
of thin air.
up until this point, she had been wearing the blue striped shirt,
Oh yeah.
and now she's just wearing a pink one.
And I'm so used to seeing her outfits change all the time. I forget that she's been in the same shirt for almost a week now.
She's been in the same outfit since the very beginning. Besides the moment that she was wearing the black bandana and blue shirt at the very beginning of the series. Which I still prefer that look for her because that look is great.
I know, it would have been really iconic.
Because it really because a lot of the characters of the series describes themselves with how they look. Not to like jump ship, but when you see Brook and you see him, his weapon, his demeanor, you know who he is to the team and you know what he's about.
Like Brook, Chopper, Frankie, they all have very iconic looks.
Usopp, not so much, until his newer form after the time skip. Or
that's
even
post-time skip Usopp.
Post-time skip Usopp and Soja King
about.
Usopp, in which they really lend credence to, they are exactly who you expect the person to do. Like, okay, I get that.
Because especially
like,
since
Zoro has like the 3 swords, it's hard to miss on his character. But Nami just
know,
wears newer outfits and just kind of is part of the crew for a while.
Because you forget that she's the navigator until she starts doing navigating stuff. And like, oh yeah, that's your purpose on this ship.
But she's also a thief. She loves to steal things from people. She likes, in episode 22, we see Nami basically tricking Sanji with her feminine wiles into
is
giving
just
her a
her, like,
free meal.
That's just her not even trying. She was not even trying. Like, Sanji was doing most of the legwork for that.
Oh, also to bring up the
Also,
fact,
it's
Zeph makes a clear moment when he's courting Nami of like, well, if you want to leave with them, you can. And Sanji
I'm not gonna
immediately
stop you.
drops the idea.
Like, he
of
drops
going with
the
them.
act, like, completely.
Yeah, and then it's really noticeable that
Like, it's like that
Sanji is doing
fast.
everything in his power to stay on that ship.
It's like he's mentally blocking himself from leaving, which I think is very telling about Sanji.
To go back to
himself.
something in the previous episode, because now I want to
We're
bring it up.
going to be skipping around a lot in these.
Sanji gets told by Luffy, "Hey, I'm looking for a chef. You're coming with me, right?" And he's like,
Sanji,
no.
he's silent for like a full 3 seconds, and he's like, no. And it's almost like he was about to say something else to him, but then he stopped himself. And also, what do I have here?
He makes actually a very big. Luffy makes a very big show that now that his mind is set on someone being in the crew, he's not giving up on them. And like I said, he's a stubborn person. He will not stop until he has exactly what he said he was going to do.
Oh yeah.
He saw Sanji. He saw that he can defend himself, which is important for him being on a pirate crew.
Especially on the King of the Pirate crew.
And he says, "Hey, you make good food. I need someone that can defend
love good food.
I love good food. You make good food. You can defend yourself. You're now part of my team."
Here.
And when Jin is like, "How many people do you have?" He says 5, also counting Sanji.
And Nami. Like, he counts them all.
Yeah, he counts Nami. Even though she's never directly said, "Yeah, I'm part of your crew." And Sanji, who hasn't even accepted his offer yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, from the very beginning, he knew.
Like, he
from the second he saw Sanji, this is my new crewmate.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because he doesn't look generic. But that's beside the point.
Like, he's the only one in, like, a different outfit besides Zeph's Doug Dimmadome hat.
Oh, gosh. Zeph Dimmadome, owner of the... the Brate Dimmadome, yeah. Which, as we can...
So, I have 2 notes. Sanji lavishing attention on Nami, part 1 of Infinity. And this is the last time that Zoro sticks up for him ever.
Yeah.
Because he actually sticks up for Sanji.
Okay.
And then he, like, tries to reverse it almost immediately.
So, it is actually kind of interesting that at this moment, once all the main player characters are sitting in the middle of the restaurant, Don Krieg shows up. Mm-hmm. Don Krieg shows up with his in the fearsome splendor you would imagine he is.
Oh yeah.
He's this hulking guy.
Hulks in.
Wearing
he squeezes himself through the door.
Yeah. Wearing a very tattered jacket, which then exposes itself to be once it exposes himself to actually have like mechanical armor under it. And it's like, okay, this guy claims to be the strongest pirate in East Blue. I believe it.
Uh-huh.
When he says, I have the strongest crew and I am the strongest pirate, I believe him. Mm-hmm. Even the next few guys we see come up in the series, all the way up until the time skip, he's still probably the strongest person he's ever met. Physically. Mm-hmm. Physically strong pirate.
Doesn't mean that he's the smartest, because we'll come up on the most cunning
and he says,
villain he's gonna come up against.
And he said, and Jin, who's basically like supporting him under his arm, basically says, once he's had food, they will leave. Sanji then goes, okay, and he makes food for Don Krieg,
he just
saying it's probably the greatest thing I've had. I'll take the ship. And I was like, what? And so he just tackles Sanji going... He
doesn't tackle him. He, curb kicks him in the face.
It's called an arm bar, where it's where his elbow right here interlocks with their neck. So it's... But still, he's like, my crew, which used to be 50 ships with 5,000 people
5,000 men
among all the ships,
is down to
he
100.
barely like below 101 average ship. The main flagship
Like,
is
this ship is in pieces.
destroyed.
It's like got holes in the sail. I don't even know how they reached the Baratie in the first place, so it wasn't wind currents. Because the current was going the other way, from
It's
what I
almost
remember.
like they got back like by sheer luck.
Mm-hmm. They just happened to come upon
Like
the
they're
Baratie.
out of food, they're out of like
Which
men, they're out of supplies.
Krieg isn't as like he's not as hungry as the other men are, which is very which leads me to believe that he was taking the bulk of the food and
Maybe.
Well,
he is like the 6-foot guy, so probably he needed a little bit more.
And probably the armor is covering most of it either way, so we wouldn't be able to tell.
So Sanji then goes, sure. And he goes into the kitchen to prepare 100 meals. And a little extra as well, because he's like, there's people starving, I need to help them.
Like, it's a need. It's not a desire, it's a need.
We're gonna pause right here. Not even knowing his backstory, about anything about him, because not even a single word has been talked about who he is, what he means to the ship, and
why
who
he's the
Zeph
only
is to him.
busboy on the Baratie. He's the only
But
one.
you immediately get, he's had a situation in which he's been hungry. He's had a situation in which he can't stand watching someone be starving. Like straight from the beginning, it is against his nature to withhold food from people who are desperate for it.
Like he would rather like get curb kicked and like drawn at knife point than allow someone to go hungry. And in fact, we'll see this as the series goes on. He literally cannot watch anyone starve. It's not a desire, it's an innate, he is unable to watch someone starve.
So, at this moment, when Sanji's bringing back down the food, Patty shows up with a lobster cannon.
I remember that lobster
shoots him, and it reveals his high-tech armor underneath. But then we get Zeph showing up to stop everything. And Krieg is now
starts freaking out. Like, Krieg is like, he looks like he's about to turn tail and run from the Baratie.
Let's just skip over to episode 23. Zeph was once known as Breadfoot because his
foot was once soaked in the blood of his dead
his style of taking people out is a breakdance martial arts style in which he can like just destroy anyone with just his feet. And you can definitely see that like you then like look down at his peg leg and they're like, okay, he's not as powerful as he was before. But as we can see, it's not stopping him. He's just a little less powerful now.
Yeah. And now, Luffy's even more invested, because I think that Luffy knew something was up with the ship, but he just didn't know it was a pirate ship, technically. Because there's still a known pirate on the ship. I don't think he's ever, like, cashed himself in. And apparently, Zeph has been through the Grand Line. Or at least a part of the Grand Line. And he has a journal documenting his exploits during the Grand Line, which Krieg wants. And Luffy's kind of interested in it as well. Like, he doesn't outright say, like, he wants it, but you know that Luffy's curious about, like, some of the adventures in there.
And, I find it interesting that, Zeph, when he's encountered by, like, oh, I see, you gave up your life as a pirate because you lost your leg. I was like, and Zeph responds with, I can cook without a leg. It's half joking, half really powerful statement from him that
he
just
gave
makes
up
this episode
piracy.
so gold.
He gave up the life of a pirate for two reasons. One, we'll find out in next week, and two, he just wanted to be a chef. Apparently,
Yeah.
he just wanted to reinvent himself as a chef.
And as we see in actually these 5 episodes, he directly says, to skip a little bit to episode 5, if only there was a restaurant on the sea, so no one could go hungry.
Yeah. So
and you could almost hear in his voice, if no one's done it so far, I have to be the one to do it. Because
it's also why
it
he
shows
positioned it so close
when
to
we
the
get to
Grand
next
Isle.
week in the flashback that we get of them making the ship, we actively see that Zeph knows nothing about cooking. But that's okay. He just wants to be able to be there for people. Like, he's giving up the life of crime for the life to help people. Which is honestly like what a lot of pirates and privateers did.
That
they were either criminals that became good guys, or they were good guys that became villains.
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain, or you die a hero.
Yeah,
and so the fight's going on, and I believe it was the Greek pirates who told exactly why they needed the Baratier. The Baratier seems to be the first big ship that they came across, and so they figured they'd go for the Baratier.
I'm not sure how all 100 of them are going to fit inside that ship, but
they would fit, though.
They might be able to.
The Baratier is a fish-shaped ship. It has a part of it underneath.
A little bit, but that's more storage than actual anything.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting that Luffy basically straight up tells to his face, you may be strong, but you weren't strong enough for the Grand Line. I'm going to become king of the pirates, so I can take it on. And it's almost like egging him on to try to do something. In which, Zoro shows up and, gives his support. I think Usopp was there. Or at least
Usopp was there in spirit. Well, no, he was there in body. He was there in body, but not in spirit. He wanted to be long gone from this situation.
Yeah. But then we actually see what happened to their ships. Literal foreshadowing happens, in which a shadowy figure shows up and kills 49 ships.
A
single swordsman.
Zoro's face. He's like, it reminded me of that scene in Hellsing Abridged with when Alucard is talking to Anderson in the museum. It's like, having a good day today. We're about to have a fight today. Like, not those exact words, but Zoro's face, he's one part terrified and 15 parts extremely excited.
And we do see that it flashes back to his promise to, oh my god, Kurina.
I will never forget her name.
Saying one of us has to be the greatest swordsman on the planet, on Earth, so it's going to be one of us. They say a man with a pitch black sword took out 49 ships
with
alone.
Eyes of a hawk. And
Zoro's instantly going,
he grips the rail,
oh
and
no, And it's almost like at this point, and in the audience's realization, Zoro has to kill this guy at some point to be the greatest swordsman.
And we all know he's not ready.
Oh, he's so not ready.
But Zoro thinks he's ready. He's like, I can do it. I can take him.
So we then, after Don Krieg leaves with the food to basically feed his men and rally them to take the ship, and we see the chefs preparing everything for their assault, Hawkeye shows up.
He doesn't just show up. He makes the appearance of a lifetime. He's like, there's something
all
in
we
the
see-
way.
All we kind of see is a splash of water, a crack go through the ship, and the massive ship that's twice height-wise of the Baratier, which is already kind of a big ship, because it's basically a 3-story building on the water.
That's a
And you see
flagship.
this massive Spanish galleon just get sliced in half and obliterated.
It doesn't just get sliced in half. It gets canopied.
The front of the ship gets mulched.
It's in the water.
We see
There are
sailing
bits of
on
it
a
in the Barati.
coffin-shaped ship with a giant cross-shaped sword.
And this guy with
is
this
a man
plume
known
in his-
as Dracul Mihawk.
Get the edge. It's beautiful. I love it.
Do
It's
they ever
amazing.
explain that he's one of the 7 warlords of the sea?
Not yet.
No,
He's
but
just Mihawk.
that title of one of the 7 warlords, you go, oh no,
He's in fact the most powerful.
he's one of the most powerful
He
people
is the
in
most
the ocean.
powerful of them. Don't get.
And
Luffy could not take down Mihawk. Luffy knows it. But
and
so
just the fact that you have this guy just sailing up, cut the ship in half, the tales of how fast he was able to
Mihawk's
take out
hungry, I think.
49 other ships and basically decimate their crew, you're instantly hyped for the next episode. It's why I have to call this episode gold, just off of the tension that it leaves
it
you
starts
on
to
the episode.
mount, and it keeps
Because
mounting.
it
I'm
was
telling you.
good at the sea, it was, okay.
It was good
So
to
how do
me
I
for
put
the
this?
start of this arc. It just keeps getting
Episode
better.
21, silver, but it's a pretty good silver. But it kind of has odd pacing. You then have episode 22 is getting there, but it's still kind of silver because it has kind of slow pacing. This episode spikes it all the way up to really high gold.
So good.
Just because you're like, it's one of those moments in One Piece where instead of actually like saying
nothing is said,
like,
it's just shown.
yeah, it's
Like
just
how
shown
awesome
of
this
like
character is.
it's almost
And it
like
doesn't
tapping.
disappoint.
It's almost like Oda went up tapped Zoro on the shoulder, going, "That's your competition. You're not ready for this." And Zoro
was
cracks his knuckles, going,
I can do it, Dad! I can do it! And Oda's just, I can't stop you, this is a bad idea. But,
so
also, I want a wacky, high-rise sitcom between Mihawk and Shanks, where they're roommates in like a Frasier-style sitcom. That would be the funniest thing in the world to me.
all I'm thinking about is that scene from None Piece where he's just like summoning muffins like out of his hand, and it's like we don't know why he showed up.
Well, we're almost to Muffin Island, so.
Yeah. So they start shooting at Mihawk. We're now in episode 24, and he just like casually just pulls his sword out and he deflects the bullets and just put it back.
Yeah, you just basically
And it's like,
sends them back,
what?
rips them, and one of the bullets I think rips through someone, doesn't it?
No.
Okay,
He just
I was
like
imagining
casually
that.
pulls out his sword, like he kind of slides them away from himself and just throws them away from him. It's like, I was like, oh gosh. And
We also-
he shows up and it's like, and then Zoro's like, I could take you on. And Mihawk just basically just kind of looks
He
him
just
up and
looks
down,
at him, it's like,
puts his sword away, and then I'm
grabs
not
out
sure
of his neck, up his
around his
cross
cross-shaped necklace. Around his cross-shaped necklace, he just pulls up this tiny dagger, going, "I'm sorry, but this is as small of a sword as I can get. I'm still gonna
And
take. I'm
Zoro
still gonna
looks
beat you."
so
though."
insulted. Like, he looks
And the
so,
fact that
like,
he's able
wounded.
to just hold his swords in place with this tiny little blade
Zoro,
shows how
unprepared Zoro is for this. Not only is he unprepared, he is woefully overestimated his own abilities.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Was he taunting Zoro, saying, "You're not good enough"? or he sees potential and he doesn't want to outright kill him.
I think both.
It almost kind of feels like he is kind of taunting him at the beginning, but then they're actually getting into a sword fight where he has to actually like use the small sword to defend himself.
Uh-huh.
And
he
then
wasn't doing any kind of serious defending.
And he reaches back and he pulls out his black sword.
If Mihawk wanted to, he could sheathe his sword and stop Zoro with his own hand if he wanted to.
Maybe.
He's that powerful.
Zoro we then go back to Luffy, who's holding the two brothers back, who desperately want to help their big brother.
Because Luffy is really doing the same thing
in which
that
he's
Luffy did
baring his teeth and he's just like holding them back, just shivering.
Because you know he wants to step in too.
But
he knows.
Luffy really wants him to handle this on his own.
Because it's his
Luffy
dream.
can feel that this is important to him.
It's his dream. It's all he's ever talked about, probably on the whole ship.
It wouldn't be very honorable for Luffy to cut in on the fight, going like, "Hey, I could take you on," but we honestly see that
no,
and we see how much Zoro wouldn't like this because Mihawk pulls his sword out and he goes to slash at him, and he could have defended himself. He could have run away from that attack. He instead whips around to face him head on, and he goes, "Please don't attack my back. That's quite shameful for a swordsman." And Mihawk smiles.
He's like, "Oh, I like you."
And he goes, "Oh, you're interesting."
I think Zoro almost got like surprise adopted in that scene.
No, we skipped the part. So Zoro is told, "Why don't you? You could have backed up and you could have attacked me." And he said, "There's no." It was like, "I can't. If I back up, then I ruin my chances of taking you on." And he goes, "Well, okay then." And so he pulls out his sword and he goes to slash and Zoro does his tiger trap and he like and Mihawk basically just walks through him.
Literally,
his two black swords shatter, and his white
two normal swords.
Yeah, his two
They're
black.
Not black yet.
No, I say black as in the handles snap in half and like disintegrate, but his white sword stays regular. And Mihawk basically just kind of looks back, almost like he's like, "Huh, I was supposed to cut that one." It's almost like even he's.
It wouldn't surprise me if like.
Now, is this because Kuina's spirit is inside the sword because it is kind of a very Japanese thing, or is it because of what we find out once they get to Lowtown about the nature of the sword?
I think it's both.
Because I can't remember if they directly say that the sword is unbreakable.
No, it's not
unbreakable. But the sword is very tough to destroy.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zoro gets wrecked in this fight.
And
literally, physically, and morally.
Wrecked. He goes to do the final blow on Zoro. Now fully pull out his sword because now he's impressed by him. And now Zoro does the whole turn around and face his front going, "Scars on a swordsman's back are shameful." And Mihawk goes, "I will gladly accept that." Slashes him twice on the chest with a single stroke. And it plays Zoro's theme as he passes out. Dying of blood loss.
And Luffy, like, we immediately go to Luffy freaking out. Because I'm pretty sure he thought in that moment that he just watched Zoro die. And he goes after Mihawk himself.
So, and as Luffy is doing the whole give Zoro to Usopp and the two brothers as they start sailing off for their own safety and for what we're about and to catch up with Nami. We'll talk about that in a bit. We have Zoro hold up the white sword, proclaiming to Luffy, "I will not be defeated ever again." And Mihawk is delighted at this prospect.
He's like, "You come and find me when you're ready," basically.
He sidesteps Luffy as he's like doing a
buries his head into the broken wood.
And
bring the
it's like
bring the ship.
Usopp passes Luffy's hat on to him. Zoro gets sent over to the brothers, and they sail off. This is the highest level of gold I would say that these episodes get. I'm not giving it a platinum though. CB does give it his platinum award of this episode because all of that tension is amounted to something.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times
There's
in
real
anime
weight to
and manga in which they have a lot of tension, and then then the villain or whatever battle they have
and he's
just
wacky.
kind of falls flat, or they're wacky, or they throw in some comedy.
Or
there
they
was
put
almost
the villain
no
in the
comedy in this entire episode.
Yeah, the comedy really came after it. Like, it kept all the comedy in the wings
the
for the
one
next
scene
episode.
of Luffy just planting his face
Which
into
were
it.
situational comedy, and they weren't trying to be
and it's
funny.
hard for him to be non-comedic just by how he is. But the fact that Luffy didn't talk that much this entire episode, stayed in the background, and let Zoro take control of this is different than what
Luffy,
this is different than what I said in last episode, in which I said that there are times in which Luffy doesn't get his time to shine because they want to give other people a chance to show off who they are, you know? This is completely different. Luffy adamantly says, no, this is important to him. He has to do this alone.
Because I think Luffy realized it was part of his dream, and he couldn't step in on it.
Because
he would
once
ruin
again,
Zoro's
dreams are important in this series. I can't remember if they say it here or something later, but destroying someone's dream is worse than killing them. Because now they have to live knowing that they can never amount to the thing that they really wanted to do. And I find
we do see dreams destroyed in this series.
Yeah, we have villains with dreams that they get shattered and they're destroyed eternally. Like,
and some villains are still plotting their dreams to this arc.
And not to spoil anything, but this is honestly the most important moment Zoro is going to have for a very long time.
Yeah.
Everything either builds off of this scene or directly references it. Of how important this moment is to Zoro. After the time skip, he's wearing an outfit that proudly shows his chest with the X mark on his chest of where he got hurt.
That Mihawk pretty much gave him.
After all of these years, through all of the publication of this book, this fight with Zoro is probably the most important scene. And there's a distinct reason why I'm not giving it a platinum. Because even though this is one of the most important moments, Zoro's not my favorite character in this series. It's hard for me to say this is the best moment of the arc because of the entire arc of East Blue. Because I know you've probably got like a thing an episode in mind when it comes to this series.
Yeah, I do.
Series.
If
this
it's
arc,
not platinum, I'd be surprised. Like this episode.
Do you know which? Oh, you're not giving this episode platinum? When I say episode, I mean individual episode get a platinum.
This episode?
You can't give a series of 5 episodes a platinum.
It was almost a platinum. The thing keeping it from being a platinum is that it arcs up beautifully with the tension, and then it does this. Like, it's just like, boom!
Because the second that they do the pass-off, in which Zoro, the two brothers, and Usopp sail off,
it's a beautiful scene.
Perfectly encapsulates that moment.
And the tension goes away. And the first note I have of episode 25 is, I want Mihawk back. Because now we're stuck with
But it's not just about that. Would you say that episode 24, is your platinum for this arc? If you say no, I understandably know where you're going to give the platinum. But
this is hard.
Because you got to remember,
I like to rewatch episodes.
Like, if they're super good.
Yeah. Because this is the first time I've ever seen this episode, actually.
But you know...
I've seen this fight, but I haven't seen the whole episode.
events of this arc, though.
Like, because immediately what I have to do if I'm going to grade it as a platinum is I have to rewatch the episode and look for nitpicks. I have to comb through the episode with
There's
a
very few
fine-tooth comb.
nitpicks.
Yeah. But I would have to rewatch it, which I'm going to do. And because I don't think I have a rating for this. Well, I do. It's high gold, but it might be a platinum. I would need to go through it with a very fine-tooth comb. And I'm like, if this stands up after this, like, run-through, it's platinum. I would award it as platinum.
So you're going to get back to me on next week about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I don't just want to award it as a platinum just because I feel good in the moment.
Speaking of awards, episode 25 gets the award of the longest title of an episode so far.
The Deadly Foot
Technique. The Deadly Foot Technique bursts forth.
We'll see longer, though. I think there's a longer one.
There's one from the 4Kids dub in which the name of the episode was This Island. Oh, what was it? It was.
I need to keep a separate list of
the Man of Sand is unfindable.
I think I know what episode.
I was like, and then the second part is like just as long, so it's like, what? But I'm gonna talk about something very distinct about Don Krieg right now, and I want your opinion on it. What is his theme?
Don Krieg? I don't remember.
Every single pirate crew in the entire series, whether it's small, whether it's big, they always have a theme. Don Krieg has no theme. Whether that is intentional...
The universe just self-imploded on itself. Even the Straw Hats have a theme.
Alvida's team, I understand of like why they don't have a theme.
Because they were the first.
Because they're the very first one. But every team afterwards, you see Buggy's team in which they're all circus performers. You see Arlong coming up, and it's all fish based, and it's like
even when Flamingo had a theme to him.
Yeah, he had a card playing theme, and it's like, and most graciously of all, even the military has a theme.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely serious when I say you look at the higher level ranks of the military, and they're all themed. And they're not only animal themed, but all the highest ranking generals are based off of real historic people.
They're actors, actually.
Oh, based off of actors?
Yeah. The three that we've seen are all based. Their looks are.
The Vice Admirals, yes, they're based off of actors. But the regular Admirals, the Grand Admirals, the Vice Admirals are based off of animals and have the look of an actor. But the actual Admirals, the Grand Admirals, those are based off of real historic leaders. Oh, you have the one that looks like Gandhi. You have the one that looks like Hitler for some reason.
Those are the Gorosei.
Oh, the Gorosei. What does that actually like? What does it actually mean? But it's like, you have all of these higher-ranking generals that are like, oh, I see, you're all political leaders. Why does that one look like Hitler? Ignore him.
You're gonna do something with that, aren't you? Like, no!
No! We can't show him. Mostly because he's so far later into it, I don't want to...
Yeah.
I don't want
that reveal is best for when we watch it.
But it's such a
everyone, even the Straw Hats have a theme.
Yeah.
Shanks' crew has like a marksman theme to them.
And
Roger kind of had a theme to him as well.
You see every single one of them, and they're all swordsmen. They're all swordsmen that have... all of the people on Roger's...
Matellum themed.
Huh?
Like, half of them were Matellum themed, and the other half were like bladesmen. Like, everyone had a knife. Everyone had some kind of, like, blade-based weapon. You have... Well, we're gonna get to it.
But here's the funny thing. Don Krieg wears armor. Impenetrable armor, I mind you, with technology. And you see you see one of his higher-ranking generals, Pearl, in this episode, who's got a shield-based theme to him. So I have to ask you, is it the fact that he has no theme, that his crew has no theme besides him, part of his theme?
It could be that all the other guys
He put all of the time and investment into making sure that he was protected. he was the one that was least hungry. He's the one that's most defensive. He's the one he cares about the most. That is why he didn't go through the Grand Line.
Yes,
He did
did
not
go.
care about his crew enough. He is strong. He's got the strongest crew. He's got the best ships. But that means nothing when you're a terrible captain.
And you're a bad delegator, as we see from Luffy in the bit that we're going to talk about with Nami.
So you get a little teaser of Sanji and Seth's backstory. You have
It's pretty safe to say that, at least in the
you get-
backstory, Sanji knew how to swim, so he
and
doesn't have a devil fruit.
Sanji gets told straight off the bat, like, the Grand Line is crawling with weird people and powerful people. And you see Luffy just, like, swinging
Smiling.
around all the place, like, with his gum powers. And Sanji goes, people like him, huh?
And he's almost intrigued.
Luffy does the Great Scythe ability.
I like the giant scythe.
The giant scythe, yeah. First time he's ever shown that off, kind of.
I need him to make the list of every move he's already done, staple it to this notebook, and just keep making the list so I can keep
Zeph is
track of
actually
what
really
I've seen.
interested in how Luffy fights. Because he's probably seen Devil Fruit users, but he's probably never seen
This type
Rubber.
of devil fruit.
Like, it's such a plain ability, but the way he's been using it up until now is very interesting. He
I don't think anyone would use
uses
the way
ranged
Luffy is
abilities.
using it.
He uses agility-based abilities. He has defensive abilities, and so
And he's
Zeph
not
really
that
wants to.
good at it, clearly.
No, not
Like,
yet.
He's not, like, if you look at Luffy, this he's not that good.
Um,
But, you know,
Zeph now
style
shows
points.
off a distinct part of the Baratie in which the forward deck opens up on the ship. The fins, as he calls it, to like give them
seems like
a lot more room.
It seems like a patio for people to stand out on.
Almost like if it's like, almost like it's like contracted for like a wedding or something.
Or if it gets to like an island.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of
the head is pilotable with a cannon that shoots out of it, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Also, we get a part where Luffy proclaims to Zeph that if he can beat up Don Creek, he gets to leave his indentured servitude, right? And Zeph goes, sure, why not? And it's almost like he's like, I didn't want you
It's
here
been like
anyway.
2 days.
4 days, actually.
No, it's been 4 days.
They said 4 days, and then Krieg shows up. They've been around the Baratie for 4 days, watching Luffy break everything. And we also get like a flashback teaser of Sanji and Zeph. And
I already said that.
Oh yeah.
But what they did show was the backstory on the two cooks. Carne and Patty.
In which Sanji was already there at the time. He's the
in which
only
they look like they came straight out of
American
Romeo and Juliet
in
Romeo and Juliet in Florida.
You mean the Leonardo DiCaprio
Yeah.
version of it?
Those
were kind of the clothing that they used for it. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. Like I had to watch it during my stop.
But we also see Don Creek showing off how strong he is. Not only does he take a cannon blast to the face, he grabs the cannon in front of him, picks up the ship, and throws it. Like the Arlong that we see later doesn't even like have this level of strength. He's powerful, yes, but he's not this strong.
Yeah. And Arlong let himself go.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was more terrifying back in his heyday. He let himself go.
And then we see Pearl show up out of the water.
I keep hearing like Pearl and like I think of Stephen Yeun the verse Pearl.
Nah, he's more flamboyant.
Different. He is. He's way more flamboyant than any Pearl we've met.
And he started talking about how cannonballs go off of him.
He doesn't like blood at all.
He's made out of bucklers. And then Luffy flies back from being punched, and he knocks the back of Pearl's head, and so his
Causing
face
blood.
slams into the shield on his chest. I guess his back is a weak point, or at least his neck. And so
I really
now
think,
that he sees blood, he lights himself on fire.
and that's very clear that Don Krieg didn't think of this plan through very well.
Oh,
Because he's like, we need
forgot
that
about
ship.
something.
What?
The ship was flying. Sanji jumps 30 feet into the air and kicks it to stop it.
Yeah.
So,
And
we
it
still
slams
have
onto
not
the
been told
head.
anything about them. And
But it's
judging
very
by
clear that
his
Sanji
abilities,
is heir apparent to Zeph's ability.
yeah, he's got Zeph's red leg ability, a red leg technique inside of it. And so I was like, okay, he's gonna probably do like some
and
sort of
as
like
it is
fighter.
here, I came into this arc relatively early on. It never stated it, but for the longest time, I believed wholeheartedly that Zeph was actually Sanji's father, and he might as well be, for all intents and purposes. They look really similar.
Yeah.
Sanji has the same abilities, and he took care of Sanji. He might as well be his dad. And even Luffy kind of assumes that he's his dad at this point of the story.
So you then have a scene in which Zeph puts out some of the fire with just his foot moving. You then have Don Krieg pulling out his mace, like this massive mace he has on hand, and chucking it at Luffy. Luffy catching the mace and throwing it back, knocking over a mass of the ship, and taking Pearl out by it landing on his head.
Oh, I just realized something.
That's
I wrote it down. Pearl's one of the monkey symbols.
Yeah, he's got like a monkey symbol thing wherever he gets
starts
hyped up,
beating it,
and
it
so
creates
he just
fire, and
falls into the water and never appears ever again. He was a
drowned.
very dumb person.
Even Luffy said that he was a joke.
Yeah, it was
even
like that guy
Luffy
sure
thought
was
he
dumb.
was a gag villain.
Episode ends with Gin just randomly showing up with a gun to Zeph's back, and it's like, oh hey Gin, how you doing?
We also have we seen Gomu Gomu no Bazooka yet?
Actually, we have.
Okay.
Bazooka was the two-hand technique
that
he used to launch.
I wasn't sure if he had it. This is why I need to make the list and staple it to the front of this folder. So yeah. So
this episode was bronze. I needed to spread all this out just so I can show this off.
This one was I didn't even
silver, gold, bronze. It is.
This one was a
so gold it's justified. It's borderline platinum with just the scene. It was the series of 5 episodes saves. It was the fight between Mihawk and Zoro
so well executed.
saves these episodes. If Mihawk was not in this, the entire batch of episodes would be silver. Like a middle ground, low silver.
It would be gold for me. It would be low gold, though, because of all the Krieg stuff.
But the best parts of this arc come at the end. So it's understandable that most of these sections with the Krieg pirates are kind of silver.
Yeah.
But I have to explain why this episode in particular is bronze. So many times in anime, we have a guy with interesting powers show up and gets taken out. Single episode taken out.
Yeah.
One Piece is one of the few series that they build up every side character.
And they give them an executed ending.
Randomly comes out of the water, says what his ability is, gets knocked into his second mode before he does anything, and then gets taken out by a gag.
Yeah. He's basically there to make Sanji look
good.
And he does. He makes Sanji look really good.
But
it doesn't escape the fact that Pearl comes after Mihawk. It came after a really good Mihawk fight.
If Pearl showed up and was fighting before Mihawk, it would be better.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that this just feels like filler.
It would have ruined the pacing, though.
Mid-battle filler of like, hey, let's show off this cool guy's ability because they couldn't figure out where to put him into any other group coming up. So here you go. He literally just comes out of nowhere. We didn't get any indication that he was in the crew. We didn't get indication that
Where he
high
was
defense
from.
and strength was Don Creek's thing. If every single crew member was wearing high-tech armor,
Here's the thing,
then
though.
it could have been justified.
Here's the thing. Don Krieg's original ship was probably full of people like Pearl. And he built up his ship over time to get the massive fleet. It makes sense that each of the ships he had Pearl as the captain. And just Pearl at the time was his, like, first lieutenant. And that's why Pearl survived the engagement with Mihawk.
But
So
he
we
was
have
at the
no way
bottom
of
of the
knowing
ship. Yeah, he actually said, I was sleeping below deck and the crack woke me up. And so he's just there now.
Yeah.
And so
But we have no way of
here's the
knowing for
interesting
sure
thing.
what Krieg's
If
motive
there was a
was.
thing in which Jin shows up in this high-tech armor, rips all of it off, and throws it on the
Because he
table
can't
going, I will pay for my meal with whatever this is. I don't care.
That
Like,
would have actually been pretty cool.
That would have been
That
cool.
would have-
Showing that his
But it would
crew
have taken
uses
away from
high-tech
Sanji's
armor.
scene with him.
Maybe. But it's like, yeah, we reject you and like kick you out even without your armor. Like,
And they
like
basically
that
toss
could have
the
still
armor
been
back
really
at him.
cool. If there would have just been a little thing, stylistically, in which all of the pirates had like some sort of like armor, or they had like armed guards for like defense, or even a thing where like stronger characters were a part of his crew, like physically stronger characters.
Like more people like Pearl, if we saw them in the background.
Yeah, not like actual like looking like Pearl type guys, but like just people
armored,
with like shields and
with
armor, like that
massive
type of stuff.
rippling muscles.
I would have loved this episode if it was foreshadowed. The fact that we had such great foreshadowing in the for Mihawk and all the type of stuff, and it falls completely flat with Pearl showing up out of nowhere, having a filler fight to show off Sanji's abilities.
I have to agree too, especially since my first note was like how much I wanted it to be the last episode. Because it really was that the tension cut off dramatically.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna give this episode these series of episodes gold. So does Combo. He gives his platinum medal to the fight with Mihawk.
And I'm gonna have to get back to you on if I give the Mihawk fight.
Here's the thing, Stacey. We're gonna end the next series of the next podcast with the end of the Barache arc.
Which is really
Cut
cool.
off right there. We go into Arlong Park.
Which is really good.
And so
it just so happens that we get to divide them like
so
that.
we all give it gold, but with varying degrees of how good
standard.
of a gold it is.
Like our gold is like different amounts of gold are in the mixture. Like,
yeah.
The carat number is different for each one of us.
Whatever. But now that we've talked about all that, let's get into
talk about Nami.
Nami shows up.
Nami's been acting weird for a while, though.
Nami shows up in the series, stealing money, talking about how she needs to get this money back.
Like, she's been all about money.
Every single time we see her, she is hoarding gold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like a gag that, like, oh, okay, she's like stealing money.
She's a gold digger. She's a woman. She's a gold digger. She's just after the booty.
And so you have this moment on the ship with two brothers.
When the flyers go and they're saying like,
will pilots go after these guys? She looks specifically at Arlong, who
like her
I
eyes
need to go back
like,
into the episode to see if they really show off who Arlong is, or if it's just like
it's like an image and there's like a burning ship or something in the background. It's like he posed for that image. Like like and almost I know like who he posed it for.
To the guy who takes pictures going, get my good side. I want to show the military who I am.
And you know who took his picture too.
Yeah.
Like we see the guy who they never stated, but they show the guy who probably took his picture and walked away from it.
But we see Nami holding his poster, Arlong.
How much was the bounty again? I believe.
20 million. And she's holding it as the two brothers go up, and she says, "Hey, can you help me with something?"
Also,
and then she pushes them off the ship and starts sailing it off with all of the collected money on board, all of their supplies,
Luffy's stuff, the Going Merry itself. She jacked the Going Merry, and Luffy and Usopp flip out.
And
for different reasons.
And Usopp says, "We can." I'm sad the ship is gone, but we don't need her. And Luffy goes,
"I will have no one else.
I will have no one else as my navigator." So we have it again.
Him and Zoro have a stare down, and Zoro relents. He's like, "Fine."
This is right before the fight with Mihawk. So
Mihawk
they have more pressing matters on hand, so they're all freaking out, going like, "Oh no, we've got so many things going on."
And Luffy decides to delegate. In a rare moment, throughout this whole series,
says,
Luffy delegates.
Usopp, take care of the ship, make sure they know where they're going. Because
Usopp
the ship's sailing off into the background, and Usopp's freaking out.
Losing time.
We're gonna lose the ship. We don't know where she's going. So when Zoro goes down, he basically just throws him onto the ship, going, "Go, go, go! I will meet you eventually."
Because they still have the side ship from the two brothers that Luffy can meet them on.
Yeah.
Coincidental that they arrived at the second smaller ship in time.
But we have this situation where Nami is sailing off, holding Arlong's poster.
Very callously, too.
And
she leaves very callously and says, "It was fun, but I have to go now, guys. See you, and I hope that we never meet, because I never want to see you guys again. But tell Luffy and the boys I had fun." And she leaves.
And it's such a weird way for her to leave off that you know that they're going to chase her down, you know that they're going to confront her, and you know that she's still going to be part of the team. Because Luffy's not going to give up a good navigator.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Luffy knows what he wants, and he'll have no one else.
And it's why
he does this several times. He chases his crewmates to the ends of the earth to find them again.
And it's at this point that you realize that. And it's at this point that you realize Oda has already started planning for the next arc. The fact that she has Arlong's poster. The fact that she went off in a rush and that she's
in some random direction, like she's got somewhere to be. She's burning daylight.
And I just want to say, he's planted so many clues.
Like
who she is, where she came from, and what she's about to do. But we're going to go into those next week.
Yeah.
Mostly because we're out of time.
This next episode, not this next episode.
The next episode is the full backstory of Sanji. We get through the entire fight with Krieg, and we end with them going off to meet up with Zoro.
Because the last episode I think of this next set is when I first saw One Piece for the first time, and this is going to be the first time I'm going to see it animated, which I'm excited about. The first time
that I actually read it was the ending of the Don Krieg fight, actually.
So we came in at about the same time.
Yeah, because that was the first time that you had started getting Shonen Jump, the monthly edition that was coming to America.
Which
I gotta love those book fairs, don't you?
Book fairs?
Yeah, you got them at book fairs.
Comic shop. I got them in comic shop.
No, the first time that you picked one up was at a Scholastic book fair, and like.
No, I didn't. What happened was that I was collecting Sonic comics, and I began collecting the Yu-Gi-Oh! Taco Bonds at about the same time. And so I began collecting them, and then I saw that there was an advertisement for Shonen Jump at about that time. I think it was this one. And so I began collecting Shonen Jump.
Is this like the first fight with Seto Kaiba? No, this is actually
This
where
is the
he uses Exodia to obliterate him.
it's the end of their first fight with Kaiba in the death match that they didn't translate very well into anime.
The weird,
But that's
you gotta remember that.
But that's WB Kids for you. It wasn't
But you
for
gotta
kids.
remember
It was
that Yu-Gi-Oh was never supposed to be a card game. It was just
Capsule Monsters.
okay. So we're gonna just cut it off right now because I don't want to go into the whole thing with what Yu-Gi-Oh was and what it actually means to me. But we're gonna head off.
Yeah. So we hope that you join us for this next week. This next week, I'm gonna have some interesting things to say. I'm gonna either really like this batch
And
of
I
episodes
and
or
I talk
not.
and I gush about probably one of the best moments in the series, honestly, in my opinion.
It's such a good episode, and they added on to it to make it even better.
Yeah.
How is that physically possible, Oda? How could you take?